lifetime.
So one of the reasons that the system has become so corrupt, I think it's fair to say, is Anthony Fauci, one of the longest-serving federal employees, who was the subject of one of the best-selling books of a couple of years ago, which you wrote, The Real Anthony Fauci, amazing book. And all this information about him was exposed to the world, and he gets some sinecure at Georgetown and still has Secret Service protection. He seems to be thriving.
He doesn't have Secret Service protection
any longer.
No, President Trump took that away from him. But
good.
He got immunity. Why did he need immunity? Why did he need a pardon in advance?
What do you think the answer is?
I would be speculating, but I think he was vulnerable. I think he had a lot of liability on creating the coronavirus. He was funding precisely that research at the Wuhan lab.
Yep.
And he was giving them the technology. He was giving them, he gave them not only the technology, the precise technology for developing that pathogen, and published about it, by the way. And, the publications credit NIH for financing the studies, but he also gave them, one of his fundees, Ralph Barrick from the University of North Carolina, developed a technique called the seamless ligation technique, which is a technique for hiding the laboratory origins of a virus, of a manipulated virus. So that normally, if there's a virus manipulated, you can look at it. Researchers can look at it. They can look at the DNA sequences, and they can say this thing was created in a lab. But Ralph Barrick had developed a technique that he called the no-seam technique, and its technical name was seamless ligation, and it was a way of hiding evidence of human tampering. What is the public health rationale? If you were interested in public health, you would want to be doing the inverse of that. You would want to be pinning red flags all to it and say this was created by people.
That's what you would do if you were creating viruses for biological warfare.
Right, that's right. And that's another question, is why would he give it to the Chinese? I mean, that was a military lab. It was run by the military.
It's hard to even understand that. What would be the rationale for doing that?
I try not to look in other people's heads. I try, like in the Fauci book, I never look in and speculate about what his motives are. I just say this is what he did. But I do think that there's this, among a lot of the people who were doing that kind of research, the gain-of-function research, there are big career, economic, and professional incentives to break new ground and say, I just, one of his fundees created a avian flu virus, which can be very deadly to humans if you can make it do human-to-human transition, transmission. And he developed one that could jump to mammals. Why would you do that? You're inviting a catastrophe, and they published it and bragged about it. And I think there's this kind of, I don't know whether I would call it a God complex or something, where, some of the people in that field seem to have this kind of, get some kind of sense of omnipotence or something from, developing something that can kill all of humanity.
Yes.
But I don't know. That is sheer speculation.
That sounds right to me. So it sounds like Fauci is beyond the reach of the law at this point.
Yeah. I think generally, unless there was a truth commission, which they did as you know, in South Africa.
Yes.
They did it in Central America after the the 1980s wars there, and they were very, very helpful to those societies. And, I think we should probably do something like that now. And in those cases, what happens is you have a commission that hears testimony on what exactly happened. Anybody who comes and volunteers to testify truthfully is then given immunity from prosecution. But so that at least the public knows who did what.
Yes.
And people who are called and don't take that deal and perjure themselves, they then can be prosecuted criminally.
We don't have a good track record of revealing the truth in a timely manner. As you know better than anybody, the president on January 23rd issued an executive order ordering the full declassification of files